A scheme that allows private sector participation in subsidized housing development. Details of a government plan to import 20,000 workers for the construction and transport sectors. And the Chief Executive in Council approves 2.87% pay hikes for senior civil servants and 4.65% pay rises for junior and mid-ranking government workers. Good evening and welcome to TVB News. To increase the supply and speed up the building of affordable housing in Hong Kong, the government today unveiled a pilot scheme that allows subsidized homes to be built by private developers. These units, set to be sold at 65% of the market price, will be ready for sale in fiscal year 2028 to 29 at the earliest. Jackie Lin with details.
The public-private partnership scheme on subsidized housing development was suspended in 2002. It was brought back to the table in Chief Executive John Lee's maiden policy address. Details were unveiled today on the locations chosen. The 3 plots of land include a 0.5-hectare site on Cheungman Road, Chai Wan, near the Chai Wan MTR station. The site is expected to use 700 housing units and will be sold by tender during the first quarter of next year. Another 1.4-hectare parcel of land is in Tung Chung's newly reclaimed Area 122. Up for bidding in the first quarter next year, the Tung Chung site can generate some 1,600 units. The government is reviewing the options for the third site, which is slated for tendering in 2025. Private developers are also encouraged to apply for the rezoning of their own land to develop subsidized housing. They will be offered concessionary land premium for the relevant land exchange or lease modification.
We leverage on the flexibility, market sensitivity. We're going to announce a number of parameters to ensure financial viability and then quality assurance.
The various parameters include size requirements. Each unit should be of no less than 280 square feet in size. At least 70% of all flats should be no smaller than 375 square feet. There won't be any buyback guarantee from the government to ensure the unit's quality. Welfare facilities should be provided. Flats are sold with a 35% discount of the market price, slightly pricier than the latest batches sold under the home ownership scheme. Eligibility and resale restrictions will be on par with the home ownership scheme. The government expects that privately developed subsidized housing will be built faster than government-constructed ones by 2 to 10 months. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The government announced it will import 12,000 and 8,000 workers for the construction and transport sectors, respectively. Employers can submit applications starting from next month. Mimosa Ngai reports.
With the city facing a labour crisis owing to an ageing population and other factors, authorities hope to resolve the issue by importing workers. This includes the Care Worker Import Scheme, which will start later this month. To further address the manpower shortage, the government is now extending the labour importation scheme to other sectors, construction and transport. Officials said there will be almost 20,000 vacant positions in the construction sector by the end of this year, hence plans to import 12,000 workers to bridge the gap. Moreover, authorities said public sector construction projects, including hospitals and railways, should be prioritized for more approved importation quotas because they serve public interests. For private sector projects, applicants must explain why their need for imported workers is unique. The transport sector, meanwhile, hopes to introduce 8,000 imported workers, including 900 public light bus drivers and 800 coach drivers. Transport and Logistics Secretary Lam Sai Hong said all imported drivers must meet certain requirements before working in the city. For instance, they must pass the driving tests for public light bus or buses as well as attend pre-service courses. On where employees will be imported from, authorities said the SAR welcomes workers from the mainland as well as other places.
The schemes are not just open to mainland workers, but our experience in the past has been that it would mainly be mainland workers because of the geographic proximity and convenience.
Warned that the authorities hope to approve applications of the imported labour schemes promptly once received.
We hope to be able to complete processing applications within about 2 months. We don't expect to fully utilize the quota in the first year, so it would be a progressive process.
The government stressed that the various labor sector importation schemes are needed to relieve the serious manpower shortage. However, officials said their policy is to prioritize the employment of local employees. Mimos 9, TVB News.
The Chief Executive in Council has approved pay rise rates for civil servants backdating to April 1st. The pay rise will see senior civil servants earning 2.87% more in salary. Junior and mid-ranking government workers will receive 4.65% more. The government said the pay rise rates took into consideration factors such as the city's economic condition and government finances. The pay rise proposal will be sent to the Finance Committee of the Legislative Council for funding approval. Chief Executive JUN Lee today commented on the controversy surrounding the Fanling golf course. He said the decision to use part of the course for public housing development was made by the previous administration. This as the Town Planning Board continued its public hearing on the government's plan to take back 32 hectares of land from the Hong Kong Golf Club. Part of the land will be used to build public housing units. Meanwhile, a Saudi Aramco's LIV Golf League event will be held at the Fanling Golf Course in October. Its spokesman said it will likely relocate the tournament if the SAR goes ahead with its plan to take back land from the golf course. Chief Executive JUN Lee stressed authorities have to follow procedures and the Town Planning Board will make decisions and recommendations.
We have assessed that there is sufficient facilities to meet international tournament needs. We'll be more than happy to make available the land we have for the use of international tournaments, so these tournaments will not be affected. In any event, we follow the statutory procedure.
It's understood Chief Executive JUN Lee might be leading a delegation comprising all Legislative Council members to visit the mainland, possibly the capital city of Beijing, between mid and late September. Lawmakers are believed to have received a notice to prepare for the 5-day trip. The coordinator noted it's an important event and legislators should pencil down the dates to attend. If the group is heading to Beijing, that will mark the first trip to the capital attended by all lawmakers in the history of Hong Kong. In April, the CE led a delegation of principal officials and lawmakers to the Greater Bay Area. The tour was set to showcase solidarity and ties with the Bay Area cities. Japan is participating in NATO's Air Defender 2023 military drill in Germany, the largest air deployment exercise in the alliance's history. Media reports say Japan is taking part as an observer in the exercises, which also feature Sweden, which is hoping to join the alliance. More than 2,000 flights are expected to be carried out over the North and Baltic Seas over 12 days. 25 nations and around 250 aircraft, as well as almost 10,000 servicemen, are involved in the drills. Launched on Monday, the exercises showcase NATO's defensive capabilities, though officials say it is not directed at any nation. NATO views Japan as a partner nation, along with South Korea, Australia and New Zealand, in its efforts to keep a check on China. The US is sending some 100 aircraft to Europe and 2,000 Air National Guard personnel. White House spokesperson John Kirby said the United States has made its concerns known to Cuba about an alleged secret deal between China and the Caribbean nation. Cuba is allegedly hosting Chinese spy operations on its territory. Kirby said he did not expect this to affect U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's planned visit to China, reportedly scheduled for later this week. Both Cuba and China have denied the allegations, and a foreign ministry spokesman in Beijing said he had no information on Blinken's visit. Daniel Rao reports.
The Wall Street Journal reported last week that Beijing and Havana had reached an agreement to build an electronic eavesdropping station on the island, and that China planned to pay Cuba billions of dollars as part of the negotiations. White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said the U.S. believes China has been trying to achieve intelligence-gathering capabilities in the Caribbean nation, and Washington has expressed its concerns to the Cuban government. He stressed Washington wants to keep the lines of communication open with Beijing.
Nothing's changed about the fact that we understand the bilateral relationship with China is tense right now. And nothing's changed about the fact that the president wants to keep the lines of communication open with the PRC.
Still, Kirby said he did not expect the recent reports to affect US Secretary of State Antony Blinken's planned visit to China. On Monday, however, Blinken told reporters that China conducted an upgrade of its intelligence collection facilities in Cuba back in 2019. Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez dismissed the White House's allegations. He called them a fabrication meant to justify the decades-old US economic embargo against the island. The Chinese foreign minister responded to the American accusations on Monday and denied Beijing was using Cuba as a spying base. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said US officials and media have spread a series of inconsistent pieces of information on the so-called Chinese spy facilities in Cuba. He said this is another show of self-contradiction from Washington. Wang stated the US has no chance of driving a wedge between China and Cuba, which shares sincere friendship, nor can the White House cover up its deplorable record of indiscriminate mass eavesdropping and spying around the world.
Still ahead on tonight's news. Donald Trump arrives in Miami for court appearance on dozens of federal charges. The gate and wall of the US Consulate General vandalized. And a call for an immediate blanket ban on importation of aquatic and agricultural products from Japan. Welcome back to TVB News. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has arrived in Florida for a history-making federal court appearance on dozens of felony charges. The charges accuse him of illegally hoarding classified documents and thwarting the Justice Department's efforts to retrieve them. Tracy Furness has more.
Trump's Tuesday afternoon appearance in Miami will mark the second time since April he has faced a judge on criminal charges. But unlike the New York case, which legal analysts deride as somewhat trivial, this case jeopardized national security and includes Espionage Act charges, which carry a significant prison sentence if Trump is found guilty. The indictment alleges Trump intentionally retained hundreds of classified documents that he took with him from the White House to Mar-a-Lago in 2021. Material he stored in a bathroom, ballroom, bedroom and shower on nuclear programs, defense weapons and foreign governments. With 37 felony counts against him, Trump and his allies have been escalating efforts to undermine the criminal case, accusing opponents of attacking his political chances for the 2024 election. In a tweet Monday, Trump accused the case as election interference at a level never seen before in our country.
It feels a bit like a witch hunt to me, this whole situation. I think that a lot of the things that he has been investigated for are things that were seem a bit contrived, and also it seems as though we are attacking one political candidate and one political party rather than giving a broad range of justice for multiple people.
As Trump arrived at his Miami hotel Monday to spend the night before his court appearance, a handful of supporters and opponents gathered outside.
He'll be guilty, but he'll get away with it. He'll be guilty, but they won't lock him up, because that's, But let's remember what he said. I could shoot a woman on Fifth Avenue and get away with it. He has gotten away with it. Enough is enough.
On Monday, security guards and federal officers were stationed outside the Miami courthouse ahead of Trump's appearance. Although Trump has encouraged supporters to protest there on Tuesday, police do not expect any issues. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Back locally, the gate and walls of the U.S. Consulate General in Hong Kong were spray-painted this morning. Police arrested a man in connection with the case, which has been classified as criminal damage. The area vandalized was covered with black plastic bags. Police seized one spray paint can on site. Consulate staff removed the plastic bags, revealing the words double standard and hegemony spray painted in white on the walls and the gate. Sources say a man quarreled with consulate staff members at around 5 a.m. today before the incident. The man was immediately apprehended by consulate staff. Police have arrested a 40-year-old man in connection with the suspected hacking of Television Broadcasts Limited's MyTV Super app. He was taken away from Tin Sum Police Station this afternoon to assist in the investigation. The man is suspected of stealing the names, email addresses and partial ID card numbers of over 30,000 MyTV Super members. No credit card information was involved. So far, no evidence that the lost data has been misused. Television Broadcasts Limited said it detected suspicious activity within its system on the 18th of May. The company swiftly blocked the intrusion and reported the case to the police. As Japan plans to discharge radiation-contaminated water into the sea this summer, officials in both Hong Kong and Macau are considering contingency plans to reduce the risk to food safety. Some local lawmakers are even demanding a blanket ban immediately.
The Hong Kong government earlier said when Fukushima releases treated water, the city will impose a ban on the import of high-risk aquatic products from along the coast of Fukushima. During a Legislative Council panel meeting today, some lawmakers demanded that the authorities impose a blanket ban immediately on the import of aquatic and agricultural products from all of Japan.
They may use the food products from Fukushima and process the food and then export them as processed food to Hong Kong.
We will do an import ban. We just haven't specified how many prefectures will be covered. We're not setting any limit on what we will do. We will do a risk assessment and take measures as warranted.
Others worried if Japanese products coming in the form of transshipment will be a loophole.
When the food is re-exported, the labeling is changed and there is no way for us to keep track of where the food import comes from. Is there a mechanism in place for us to combat this kind of practice? We will be able to track the place of origin. We can go so far as to track the factory or the company exporting the food. So there is a mechanism in place for us to address that.
Meanwhile, the issue is also sending jitters to Macau. This man said they're neglecting the safety of the earth. He said he hasn't bought Japanese-made products since the Fukushima nuclear accident. Macau has suspended food imports from Fukushima since the 2011 nuclear incident. Products from 9 other prefectures with the highest risk have since been subject to stringent regulation and inspection. Today, the Macau government is not ruling out suspending applications for the importation of vegetables, fruits, as well as various aquatic and agricultural products from 9 high-risk prefectures.
And that's the news. Thanks for watching.